Hey! Hey, where'd all those movies go? Where'd all those movies go that I wanted to watch in a movie theater? Are you telling me there's a global pandemic right now, and for the safety and security of everyone, they've closed down movie theaters? What's that about?
I don't know if that voice gives the severity of what this will probably do to the entire entertainment industry. Thousands out of a job?
But I wanted to watch Mulan.
No more summer blockbuster?
So you've all heard the news. COVID-19 is here and making itself heard. We're self-isolating right now. We're quarantining ourselves in our little homes. And we wanted to talk a bit about some of the movies that got canceled, as well as some other films that from the past that we wish got fully made. And kind of go from there. We are recording this a little bit ahead of time, so it's possible that this could all be over by then. I doubt it, but
it's also possible that it's continuing and even
worse.
More movies are added to this list.
Yeah.
Because I know like a lot of films that are currently in production shut down for those, and I'm sure this is not the extent of movies being delayed.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
So,
David, let's talk about some ones that gotta push back.
Yeah, so we got let's just start at the top of the list. We got Fast and Furious 9.
Yes, delayed by a whole dang year.
Yeah. So maybe I'll watch the last one that came out and get ready for this one.
No Time to Die, more like November Time to Die, because it got pushed back to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, do we think, but hopefully. I mean, I feel like all the films that are, like, pushing back to, like, later this year are, like, very hopeful. Because, like, imagine if all the movies that are getting pushed back get pushed back to those last few months. It's going to be so crowded.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah. Mulan.
Ooh. No new date.
Yeah, just kind of, it'll come out at some point.
Same with A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah. Sad. Very sad.
And now everyone was so worried about this next one, David.
The Lovebirds, Kumal's latest film, Jack Kumal, trying to hide his ripness. Yeah, no date for that one. This one burns. This one really burns.
Let another chapter in the the incredible release cycle that is the New Mutants. So funny.
I think it's fifth time being rescheduled.
I think there is no way this movie will ever come out.
Are you serious? I'm actually excited for this movie to come out. The trailer, I was like,
it's just so funny. So funny.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Antlers. Little indie horror film. Actually, not indie, but indie. It was gonna be coming out in April. Now has no release date. Super sad. Pretty excited for this one. It looked pretty solid.
Blue Story is also got no new release date, so that's fun.
Ethan, this one burns. This one really hurts. Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway.
Fuck!
Has been pushed back to August 7th. I know what you're thinking. How will life go on if I can't see Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway? I'll tell you how. Just rewatch the first one like 100 times.
But what about Black Widow? Oh, that got pushed back as well. No new release date. Fwick.
I feel like that one's pretty sharp.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one.
Yeah. Spiral, the Saw franchise spin-off movie with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, no new date, but hopefully that comes out because that looked pretty solid. I was pretty excited for it. Really great poster. Honestly, the poster's the best part of it. That poster's fucking gorgeous.
I really wanted to see Antebellum. That's the Janelle Monáe psychological horror. That again, no new release date.
How do you feel? Do you feel like the studio's locking down a date to be pushing these films back is the right choice, or just pushing back with no release date is the better option?
No clue.
Yeah. We got Minions: The Rise of Gru,
which is crazy because that's a July release.
Yeah, they're being pretty proactive here.
Yeah, that's a spooky one.
And no new release date. Ethan, tell me the one that
This actually does break my heart a little bit. Trolls World
Does
Tour.
it?
The interesting thing about this one is it sounds like they're going to have a on-demand release with it. And I think that's going to kind of stay on that same April 10th release date when it's going to be available to like rent.
Thank God.
But I'm assuming it's probably going to be way more expensive than it normally would be to rent movies. So, yeah. And by the time you're hearing this, I'm sure 80,000 more films have been pushed back. As long as they eventually get to finish Matt Reeves' The Batman, I'll be okay. If this fucks up Dune somehow...
They already postponed... That's what's... Dude, Dune and Tenet, I'm like, please don't. Like, please, Corona, don't do it. COVID, I don't know. Whatever you want me to call you, I'll call you it. Just don't touch those movies.
Yeah, it's spooky. What are some movies that you kind of wish you got to see? Things that have gotten canceled or delayed or never fully seen for a myriad of different reasons. Obviously, not all of them having to do with a global health pandemic. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the film adaptation of Neil Gaiman's very, very famous graphic novel series, The Sandman. Kind of one. Most of the ones on my list are ones that were in just production hell for eternity. This is the one that had Joseph Gordon-Levitt attached onto it to produce, right? I want to say, and star in, and it's just nowhere. It's
if I remember correctly, Guillermo del Toro was attached at one point for The Sandman.
I believe you are correct. I don't want to say you're wrong, but you could be correct. Ethan, what's your number 4?
No, my number 5. But thank you though.
What's your number 5? I thought Trolls World Tour was your number 5. Sorry.
Fwig. That's my number 1. No, my number 5 is I would have loved to see Edgar Wright's Ant-Man. Just like fully fleshed out, directed by Edgar Wright. I think that would have been so fucking cool.
Yeah.
But it, kind of fell apart because Marvel Universe wanted to do their own thing and Edgar Wright wanted to do his own thing, and it just never kind of landed right. So they switched it up, and it was fine. It was like good, but I would have just loved to see what he could do with that.
My number 4 is a film that we actually did get to see, but and honestly, like partially the version that I want to see. And that is the Snyder cut of Justice League. There's just so much talk about it, and like what we actually got was so fucking like just cut together and like taped up and like pushed out for release. Yeah, that I would like to see what Snyder would have done with this, because at least like visually, Snyder at least gives a visually interesting film, and I would have preferred to see that. Like, some of the promo imagery released from it looked awesome, and the fact that I think the film actually does exist, even though I don't think all the special effects are finished, give it to us. Let's get it.
Now, this is a film that I don't want to see because I think it would have been good. I just wanted to see because it sounded wild, and that is Superman Lives, the Tim Burton directed, Nicolas Cage with a mullet starring Superman film, written by Kevin Smith. It also was going to have Brainiac in it, as well as Lex Luthor, and like Jim Carrey was supposed to be in another role. It sounded kind of wild. They actually made a whole documentary about it.
Yeah, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened.
What a mouthful of a title.
Yeah, directed by John Schnepp. My number 3 is Jordan Peele's adaptation of Akira, the live-action version. This was supposed to happen.
You could also say Taika Waititi's version of Akira.
Yeah, they were both attached to it. And Justin Lin, I believe, as well. Never happened, though. So who knows what this could have been. But I think all 3 would have been. I think Justin Lin's probably like, no knock on Justin Lin. I think he's
think he could have made a
fun on this list.
A fun Akira.
Totally, but I think Jordan Peele and Taika both have such unique.
They have a much better track record than he does. But
yeah,
I think Justin Lin could have done an awesome job with that.
Hey, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, I would prefer probably Jordan Peele.
David, I'm gonna say
And then probably
a
Taika.
director's name, and then
Oh.
and then an IP, and then
Okay.
after I say it, that's when you can bust a nut really hard.
Oh.
John Carpenter's Godzilla. Ooh, beautiful.
Why are you blowing?
Beautiful.
Why do you-
That sounds so fucking good. John Carpenter really, really wanted to make a Godzilla film, but then things just kind of fell apart. Yeah, he loves Godzilla. He made a short film like when he was super young that was like a Godzilla short film. That was like one of the first things he did, and he always wanted to do a Godzilla project, and then it just never happened. And then we got the other Godzilla movie.
My number 2 is another adaptation of a graphic novel written by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Andreyko, centering around the real-life serial killer, the Cleveland Torso Murderer, who was never
Only killed
apprehended.
torsos.
Was going to be directed by David Fincher, who famously directed Zodiac, one of the best true crime movies to date. And I think that this would have been another movie to that same level.
I'll argue even
well,
post
never
date.
happened.
I don't think anyone's going to top it for a bit.
I would not disagree. Yeah, no, 100%. No way. Like, Zodiac's such a masterpiece. Get out of here. Nobody's fucking topping it. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Dreaming Machine. This is the unfinished Satoshi Kon film that was left unfinished because he passed away. They were about 600 out of 1,500 shots done, like fully animated, and they thought about finishing it, but they were like, there's no one that has the talent that can do it. It is a fantasy adventure film, which is unlike a lot of Satoshi Kon's other films. It didn't have any people in it. It followed 3 different robots, and it was just like a road movie, but with robots. And that sounds dope as hell.
Yeah.
And it's also just nice getting something that is not as heavy as a lot of his other films. Something that can be like just seen for the greater public. So Satoshi Kon, of course, is most famous for films like Millennium Actress, Tokyo Godfathers, and Perfect Blue, which are all much heavier topics. But it still seemed like a lot of fun, and I love the title Dreaming Machine. I think that's really good.
That's a great name. That's a great title. My number 1 is something that has been... Wow.
That was a
that's
drum.
gonna
It was
sound
supposed to be a drum roll, but then you started talking over it, so instead it just sounded like, I don't know, somebody attacking a door.
great. My number 1 is the Halo film, which was gonna be directed by Steven Spielberg, I believe. Now it's looking like there was a TV series that was gonna be made also with Spielberg attached to it, also for Halo, but also that probably fell through. So either of these would have been great. Honestly, a film series or a TV series for Halo would be fantastic. Like, there's so much source material there to pull from. But it looks like we're just going to keep getting these, like, super cheap, low-budget Halo films, which are never very good.
David, my number 1 film I wish we could have seen was Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft story, At the Mountains of Madness. Would have been dope as hell. It is all about a kind of trip to Antarctica that goes horribly wrong, and kind of goes to incredible extremes. You know, things like the star spawn of Cthulhu and Migo, you know, Shoggoths and, you know, the Necronomicon, and kind of goes over everything. But I would have loved to see someone like Guillermo del Toro fully take the reins on a like huge in scope eldritch horror film, because I still don't think we have gotten a good H.P. Lovecraft adaptation, or rather we haven't gotten a great H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. We've gotten a few okay ones, but oh, I would have loved it.
Yeah, totally. And that'll really do it for those. There's so many to pick from. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's so many films that have been lost in production hell, never released, never finalized, and it's sad. I really like your Ant-Man poll.
Thank you.
That was a great pick.
I liked all of your polls except for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I had to put it there. And that was also a last minute replacement because before that I had The Last of Us film on here, but it looks like we're actually getting a TV series for it, so I didn't want to do that because that's something we'll probably actually in some format get.
That's fair.
Hopefully.
Hey, I think that's enough talking about COVID. I'm sure everyone's been hearing enough about that. Should we talk about just normal stuff going forward?
What are we doing next week?
I think we're gonna. Well, we're not gonna take a plane because all of the flight industry is at a standstill.
We're not doing top 5 movies on a plane.
But if we could, we would take that
Snakes on a
flight
Plane
over to
3
South
times.
Korea, and we'd watch a whole bunch of their films. But instead, we're just gonna stay home and watch the films because we're self-quarantined.
It's actually kind of interesting because originally we picked this topic because a certain movie just won Best Picture at the Oscars, but now we can also pick this pick because South Korea is doing a really good job with handling COVID-19.
And we hope that hasn't changed in the month or so before this episode comes out.
Oh god,
could be a big yikes.
Oh god,
South Korea is completely underwater. The world is a desolate
No,
place.
don't say that. Don't say that. Well, but Featurecast is
yeah, we're still trucking through it. No problem. We actually are now on all emergency frequencies.
I feel so sorry if that's the case.
And no one listens anyway. It's fine.